Okay, so the other day I was on a remote discussion with someone. I don't mind doing remote discussions for chats and just talking with people. I don't like doing it if they're a client and I'm trying to work with them and to regulate behavior or improve behavior or something like that. Now, I haven't done a lot of that for 20 years now, and I'm in my last 10 years of my retirement. My last 10 years here, I've been really doing a lot of research. So I haven't contacted a lot of people and I've met with them. But to be honest with you, I didn't do any of that remotely. That was all done locally. Uh, and so I just want to say this about clients. If you're going to consult or you're going to coach, or even if you're going to serve as a mentor to somebody, it's going to be difficult to do over social media, even over a video conference channel like this. It's they got a lot of good features to it. You don't get the same impact you do as if you're with them. So here's what I'd recommend. Now, I guess if you have a lot of remote clients and you're doing that, that's fine. I find that I would be very uncomfortable with personally trying to meet someone this way and have a genuine conversation because you're eliminating so many of the interpersonal dynamics to a discussion. Many of the nonverbal aspects are not available to you. Um, and then you have things like, one of the nonverbal dynamics is something called chronemics, and that's time and timing. And so you're restricted to a time, or you're trying to keep this coaching session down to an hour or whatever it is, or less, down to a half hour. Many of these coaching sessions, people are doing it half-hour sessions. Um, I I have never felt comfortable doing that kind of thing remotely. So my advice, if you're starting, you're trying to crank things up and you don't have any clients, stay local. You've got some sort of community close to you, I'm sure. Like I live in Yukon, Oklahoma. It's probably about 20 miles west of Oklahoma City. And I have Oklahoma City, but um, I've lived in Oklahoma City, operated as a consultant out of Oklahoma City. So I have a lot of networks in Oklahoma City, and that's what you need to build. You need to get in touch with your local communities and surrounding communities to your major city. Get in touch with the universities and people who teach and educate in the university areas. There's a lot of ways to create networking locally, and you are going to have a lot more success coaching and consulting in the local environment. My guess is you can drum up plenty of business. There's like two or three oil and gas companies here in Oklahoma City. I could probably generate lots of business just with the oil and gas industry because I've been in there, did work with them. But you have whatever industry you're talking about, the ones that are predominant in your area, by the way, those are the places that you want to begin to start touching base and talk with them. The the best you can get in consulting and coaching and mentoring is when you're with the people, when you're close to them, when you have that dynamic, that all of the interpersonal communication tools to connect with people. You're going to be a lot more effective doing that. So as opposed to trying to spend hours and hours and posting and posting and posting forever, I think you're going to be better served getting out into your local community, making contacts through your Chamber of Commerce's and local professional organizations that you've dealt with, like SHRM or any of those professional groups that you deal that you can join and be part of it. And actually spending a little money there probably is better than trying to do this by going on LinkedIn and posting forever or going into some Substack or posting forever. If I were seeking highly, and I take some clients periodically, but some of them I just do for free now because I just want to give back what everybody gave me for so many years. But if, I would not take a client that I was seriously looking at trying to help um, unless they were going to be local. So if I have some sense of education or some sense of way of creating some awareness, I can do that this way through a video conferencing. I won't do it through direct messaging or text messaging or emails or anything like that. The closest I have to that is I have a 17-week self-directed program, and I can also do that remotely. And I set that up to be able to do that. But that's going to teach you, that's an educational program and not a consulting or coaching dynamic. It's an educational, it's awareness program. So for awareness or introductory or chatting or just discussing about it, I think this is a great tool for coaching where you're seriously getting into building a relationship with your client or mentoring or consulting. These are things you want to do in person. So my guess is there's probably more than enough local business to keep you busy if you're trying to get started in that area, first of all. And then after that, most of the time, if you have that relationship established, you create that relationship, they're going to want you to come to them and they're going to be willing to pay the money for you to come there and visit and be with their clients as opposed to doing things remotely. So I'm not real big about using social media together. I have no advice about how to do that. I would tell you there's an inordinate number of ways of meeting people in a community, from clubs and associations, networking groups. Uh, there's a group called Align that does that specifically. It's a networking uh, organization. It's an online source that has connections throughout the United States. So, but even they try to keep it local and try to get you into as much local networking as possible, where you meet at a restaurant and you meet new people. So there's a lot of ways to do that. And I think your actual time spent versus posting, writing articles, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be far better spent going out into your local community and making people aware that you have the business, that you're there. And once you get one or two clients, that spreads a lot faster than it does on social media. I don't even trust references on social media. I'm not even sure references are all that relevant. You may be entering into another industry, another dynamic that references wouldn't mean much there outside of credibility. Um, and most of the things that are sold, that I've sold to clients, are not based on references or previous work I've done or anything. It's based on my relationship with that client, how much they feel comfortable. Now, if you have questions about how do I introduce myself to the client? What do I do? What do we talk about? What are my approaches to getting clients to consider looking at what I'm offering them? I'll be glad to talk with you in a chat on anything like that you'd like to talk about, but I wouldn't even want to do that across this dynamic. talking about coaching or talking about consulting or talking about the dynamic of what's going on with it in the world on something like this. That's kind of cool. I don't mind talking to people about leadership. I love, if you want to get online, we could spend a couple of hours talking about coaching and all that kind of stuff, if that's what you would like to do. In terms of the actual consulting project where I'm going to get a product that person's going to be using and effectively and improve themselves, their people, their employees, and the organization, I'm going to be there with you. We're going to be meeting face to face, and the stuff we do there is good because I have to spend. I part of my dynamic or my technique when I'm consulting is I probably spend as much time with that leader's employees as I do the leader when I'm working with them. They get as much educational dynamic out of it as the leader does almost. So there's a lot involved. Um, if you're in that, if you want to do that professionally, there's a lot involved in that, and none of that gets done well across a screen where you're cutting out a large part of your interpersonal communication skill. Now, if you're interested in interpersonal communication, you can go to my website. It's Victor L Vogel.com. And if you go to victorlvogel.com, you'll see a listing of my books. And I would encourage you to read those books. Those books were written not to market as bestseller books. They were written actually as textbooks for the 17-week program. You can play with the 17-week program. I think I have module 6 is free. So you can actually go in and see how that works and how I've designed that and how that works. You can purchase all of the books, all the textbooks I have associated with that. And I even have a package of all 4 of them. They come with workbooks, so you can actually read the book and do some actual physical work there locally in your job or your community or wherever you want to do the exercises. That comes with the textbooks. So you actually get 2 books. You get the textbook plus the workbook for that textbook. And I think then there's another workbook that's really up there for that. So that's my recommendation. Stay local. Start there. Put your energy in that, not in all the posting and social media. You'll get clients a lot faster that are going to generate money for you than you will working with the other side. Okay? So I think that will probably wrap it up. I think if you have any questions, you can come on my Substack here or LinkedIn, or I usually just am YouTube. I bounce back and forth between those 3 areas when I'm trying to put out information for people to look at. All my stuff I don't do any paywalls. So that's how that works. Bye-bye.